I think it's pretty exciting and cool to be in a completely new roster. It definitely gave me more motivation to play again. It became a bit, not boring, but everything was just a daily routine to play almost in the end there with NiP, especially when we had those poor results which we had.
It feels good to represent NA in local events because the fans there are really cheering for us, and they're always really loud, and they have good passion for CS as well.
I'm really happy that this happened in the end now, and I feel very motivated, and it's so much fun going and traveling with some new guys and playing with a new team.
The toughest part about being an in-game leader is probably when your teammates do mistakes, maybe the same mistake over and over again. That can be really tough.
I think it's very hard to say what our skill ceiling is, how good we can be. I know that we have the players to beat almost any team, but we have also shown that we can almost lose against any team. So it's really hard to say, but we just gotta figure out a way how to play our own game.
I think Cloud9 has to play like they have been before, just playing with no respect and a lot of confidence, and I think those are two big factors in winning.
We are 5 players coming from 5 different teams that have 5 different play styles, so we just gotta find our way of playing, and when we do that, I think that the stars are the limits.
The best thing we have going for us in Astralis is probably, first of all, our team spirit. We have been working on that a lot since I came in, and it has really worked out great for us.
At American events, I think the crowd is really good. For example, we just played Overpass Masters, and it was a really small arena, but it had a good amount of people, and they were all really passionate, and they were all really energetic as well.
The GoDaddy post-match breakdown.
The Ninjas resurrect on our 3rd map, and we do have ourselves a real grand final. Full 5 maps potentially on the cards. And to break it all down, I do have some Counter-Strike experts joining me. Just the 2 of them on the table this time, not me. We do have Yenko, we do have Chad. Gents, we get to see Train, and we see the Ninjas in Pajamas unwavering. We thought Cobblestone was going to be their best shot at kind of starting the series well. It seems like now FaZe's first map pick, they come in with Train as a response, and they can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, I think for NiP it was great the fact how they managed to recover early in the first half, you know, on the T side, because we talk about FaZe and how their CT side has been super strong on Train throughout this tournament, and a bit of that was because, you know, they won that early force buy, so even though FaZe forced them back, they still couldn't establish that strong economy after winning Pistol, and that really allowed NiP to put the heat on early in the map.
It looked good that first half. I mean, just to want to kind of exaggerate, T-side Train and NiP come out on top.
Exactly, and I really like the approach, right? On T-side Train, you can do one or 2 things. You can run that set-piece approach where you're playing heads-up Counter-Strike and that clash happens. All the utility comes down and then it all just, you know, escalates and crazy stuff happens around those smokes. Or you can play the rotations and find space, and that's what they did. You know, you had Forrest finding a lot of space. He had 5 opening frags, which all of those rounds were converted, right? That's huge. You're talking about T-side Train. If you can find space, find entries, and then convert the rounds, that's, you know, the hardest part done.
And it's also fairly obvious that the game plan from NiP was, you know, speed up the pace early on, right? Yeah. They were going for those fights very early on, you know, more than a minute left on the clock, and maybe they were trying to take advantage of FaZe's sometimes communication issues, right? The fact that both Guardian and all of Meister aren't really used to communicating in English, so if you create a chaotic atmosphere, some calls might be lost in translation there.
Speaking of Guardian, I don't know about you guys, but I feel he's had less impact with the AWP, obviously because he's not able to get it due to these force buys that are constantly coming out, than say Rez, who's been doing secondary AWPing duties for NiP, right? I haven't seen a lot of impact come out from Guardian, and that can, you know, we can attribute that to, hey, they like to contest, they like to buy up, they like to get, you know, the pistols going, the UMPs. They're not afraid of the low buys, but when you have a star player on your team on a map like Train, where the AWP is integral,
I think it goes both ways, in a sense that Guardian, for one, is very proficient with pistols and also very proficient with riflers. So he's not one of those guys where if you don't put an op into his hands, he's going to be, you know, his usefulness is going to be fairly limited. That being said, obviously he's a very sick guy with the AWP, so you need to find some balance in it. You don't want to take it too far with the force buys and then you end up playing a whole half or a whole game where he only had an op maybe 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, and you can see the sniper purchases. I think that's where my eyes are drawn when you do bring up the 2 AWPers from either side. Just 4 AWPs bought from Guardian in this map. Rough. He just doesn't, I mean, either he hasn't been given the opportunity or the opportunity but either way, he's not chosen to get too many of them.
Still had impact, right? He had that 8k round that happened. And I just think if a map like Overpass, they have to get the AWP in his hands because that's where he can be super deadly, super dangerous. I think, something else I want to note from NiP that I thought was good is they continued that, it's not strategies on the CT side, but they're very active. They're very proactive in their approach. They're pushing inside with 2 players. They're going up for aggression. They're doing all those kind of plays to really make FaZe's life difficult.
What about Rez? He doesn't seem to care that he's on this.
Yeah,
it's crazy, like there was a round where him and Getrat were supposed to be aggressive towards B, but Getrat was on upper ramp and he was mollied off, and Rez just goes in by himself, still gets a kill, gets the trade. It isn't flustered at all, which is great to see, him continuing the performance from the group stages.
What's so crazy to me is that this is the biggest stage he's ever competed on. The first time he's trying to do something like that, and he's playing like he's in his living room.
Big cojones, Alex.
It is big ball play.
That's what it comes down to. But you look on the flip side of that, we have Draken, who we're watching, he's missing nades, he's getting flustered in scenarios, missing AWP shots. We've critiqued him in the past for, that 30-degree window, but this is like the grand final right now, and he's still making blunders, he is still having impact, but it looked like towards the end of that game, FaZe had decided they wanted to try and target him at Ivy. They wanted to rush him down. Olaf had a couple of entries on him, and then you could see that was the game plan. We can go there early. If he misses a shot, we take the ground, we take him down, we get a free kill, and it looked like that was their plan. Didn't pay out. Didn't come to any fruition.
Yeah, from taking him down to breaking it down, Yanko, I do want to see what you have for us here. I know you've got, looks like you're round 24 lined up.
Yeah, this was quite interesting towards the very end of the game, right? As you can see, this is a round where FaZe goes for that full-on execute. We can pause it here for a second. So what's really important about this execute, as you can see, is the wall of smokes on the bomb train. That negates all the angles from players playing from the side, even from further back towards Ivy, right? That's something that you don't have to worry about. There can be a player up in heaven, he gets a line towards here, and guys hiding around the trains or maybe being on top of trains. And what you want to do is, something that FaZe is doing initially, is get those trade kills early on, right? Get towards the side, plant the bomb, and then fall back mostly towards like the Pop Dog, or behind the electric box or somewhere towards team mid, and then play the after plan situation. So now we can play it out for a bit more. You can see that those fights are still going to happen, the trades are going to happen, but NiP is actually doing a pretty good job of using their utility to buy some time, and this is where you can pause it again. So the critical mistake here from FaZe is, this is where Olofmeister still is with the bomb in team mid. Getright was still in the side whole time. Probably he was just waiting for a sound cue to try and kill the bomb planter. And now you see these smokes have dissipated. So what happens now for FaZe? There's Draken here with the AWP, Rez with another AWP, and Getright inside. It's very difficult for them, or almost impossible at this point, to just have Olofmeister go towards the side and plant the bomb. So what happened after this basically was, it was an awkward 3v3 situation. So you can see FaZe is pretty much out of utility, only a Molotov and a flashbang on Olofmeister, and they ended up losing this round because they couldn't get the bomb down initially. After that, you have to worry about too many angles, and it makes it much, much more difficult. You basically need a hero play from one of your individuals to be able to end that round in a, beneficial way for you.
So is that down to the fact that they didn't have follow-up utility, or the fact that Olaf was did not actively try and get that bomb down?
I think it was probably miscommunication of some sorts, right? Whether it was the chaotic trades or maybe the NiP just did a great job of buying time, but that you need to have the presence of mind in that situation to know, if you don't plant that bomb while the smokes are there, you're probably not winning that round. So I feel like that's where you need to take the extra risk. I'm not even sure if maybe the bomb was dropped and someone had to go back for it. They had that blunder in the opening round of the finals in the pistol round on Cobblestone.
You're smiling, Chad. Why is that?
Yeah. I don't like it when the bomb gets left in spawn.
It's also like this happened in the next round as well, 14-10. That was the Forest Crazy one-tap round. That was another 2v2 where FaZe was going for some sort of an execute, then ran out of utility, and then it became quite awkward, right? They tried to mind game NiP out, and it ended up being close, 1v1, Olaf versus Rez, but Rez managed to clutch it. And those two very close rounds, if FaZe manages to win just one of them, they break the bank of NiP, Absolutely. And that's maybe their way back into the game.
A positive, I suppose, for FaZe. It's clear they've done work on their T-side of train since that Renegades game. It felt like they had more depth, a couple more executes. It's that first half that really let them down, right? That economic struggle in the beginning, it made their life very difficult. And I just have to give praise to NiP for finding those entries and going for those risky plays. Forrest pushing out into that cutout from Team Mid and just, he's tunnel vision. He doesn't really care. Existed the same thing one round, taking advantage of Olaf inside and the way he likes to play the rotation, walking out high ramp, catching him with his pants down. Those kind of plays, they're big stage plays, and that's fantastic stuff to see from NiP.
NiP are looking fantastic, looking competitive for a final that was painted to be a rather underdog story. Well, currently, that underdog's teeth are relatively sharp. They have, however, only one maps that they have picked. Up next is Overpass. That will be FaZe, back to where they did thrive and where they chose to take this battle for the grand final. Before we talk about Overpass with these fellas, we're going to go ahead and check in with Stunner one more time. He's hanging out on that floor, and it's always been wild down there.
Well, you know me, Alex. I'm usually hanging out on the floor somewhere. I'm kidding. Anyway, we're checking out this VR right now. We headed down here to take a break from the action before NiP has that one more map to grab the championship. To meet up with Bree down here in the VR zone. Bree is from East Bay, been playing games all afternoon. Let's talk a little bit about these VR games.
So yeah, I got to beta test for Evasion over there, Sprint Vector over here, and Super Hot over here. I love Super Hot, probably my favorite game. The time stops when you do, so you can stop and slice bullets in half, and just kind of a neat niche game for people who like things that aren't just point and shoot. Pardon my audience.
Hey, now, CSGO, I mean, it is a God-tier game. We know that, and that's fine. But also, VR has certainly come a long way, and it's definitely interesting to watch in real time. Which one did you enjoy the absolute most, though?
I've actually really enjoyed watching CSGO here, and I'm not much of an FPS fan. Sorry, everybody here. But my friend Noe, her friends won tickets, and I came along, and I don't regret the decision in the slightest.
No, absolutely. It's been an amazing crowd. We've had an amazing crowd this entire event. Still got one right now, and we're about to jump in to yet another map here in this best of 5. Now, we've got the Ninjas in Pajamas and FaZe, NiP trying to bring back the trophy that they brought in last year. Who do you got in this one?
I'm betting for NiP, my friend's pick, and I'm going along with them.
Do I get any other Ninjas in Pajamas fans in the house tonight? Is that? There we go. That sounds about right. Well, check it out. If you're a Ninjas in Pajamas fan or a FaZe Clan fan, head over to your favorite social media and use hashtag IEM to get involved in the polls online, because they've been running hot all weekend, and I can guarantee you it's no different now. And also, make sure you head over to shop.eslgaming.com. Say hello to my friends while you're over there. Let's go ahead and give it back to the Xfinity Analyst Desk.
Beating SK in the semifinal is an amazing feeling, but we're not satisfied yet. We prepared so hard for this tournament, and we've been working really hard. So we're here to grab that trophy, and we're really close now.
Talking about our era, I think it's very important to be top 4 consistently. So we have now played 5 tournaments. This is the 5th tournament, and 2 of them we won without losing a map, and 2 of them we crashed out of group stage. We have to look forward to the final, and it feels good to play NiP on the big stage.
We really have come together as a team. We are having open discussions about how we want to approach the game, how we want to do things, both inside the game and outside. Everything is flowing together really good, and it's a great experience to be out there with Draken and Rez, the 2 young kids, and they get to play on a big stage and experience the tight games and everything. So I think it's a great experience for everyone involved.
All we want to do is play on the big stage. This is where we grow as players and not sitting behind the curtains and play. I think it's going to be a tough game for us. It's a long game, best of 5, and I'm definitely sure that it's going to be back and forth match. And they are here, so they know how to win games.
I don't even remember the last time we were in a playoff, so I think everyone was just really pumped up to get out there and play on a big stage again. Get Right might be a little more excited than everybody else, but we all wanted to be there, and we all just enjoy the moment.
I have never won an IEM event before, and I know every time you win an IEM event, you get your name on the trophy, and that's history right there for me. That's why we play. We want to build legacy, all players in the world. By winning an IEM trophy right here in America, it's just a dream come true, so we will do everything today to win the tournament.
Preparation paid off for the Ninjas in Pajamas on Train, the 3rd of our 5-map final. It will go all the way if Kerrigan has his way, and we've already heard from him. It is going to be a marathon of Counter-Strike. It is endurance that become a factor when you get into the 4th and the 5th, and we are there now, gentlemen. Overpass next. FaZe have chosen to take the gameplay this way.
And that's maybe where you look to Rez and Draken a little bit. Yes, they've had some games on the big stage, and they've been in the pro scene for a while, but they haven't had to play a best of 5 final that goes all the way, potentially, right? FaZe actually played the previous IEM stop in Sydney, so they know how it is to play those marathon games, and this is where it's going to get super interesting, right? Because we know FaZe and Overpass and their CT side and Rain in the toilets and so on, but NiP is actually proven to be very proficient on the mat, especially against SK. They came back from a 7-1 deficit on the T side to, you know, win the whole thing in the end.
And that's a perfect direction to kind of channel, I think, with our time here, Chad, is actually focusing on what the Ninjas did right on Overpass, why they actually have a chance to lift the trophy after this match.
Yeah, they did that all in default towards A on their T side against SK, right? They just went for map control over there. They took down Fur and his aggression, and from there they were able to wait, set up shop. Taco's going to push B, they grab that kill, and then they just have those number advantages and make a mid-round decision and get on those bomb sites. That was fantastic, but it is exploitable. If you know it's coming, you can push B and you can contain. Taco got a little bit greedy in a couple of occasions, you know, but in this scenario, once you know that's the situation, you can sit back, you can play it a little bit different. I think on the flip side of things, their CT side, they have to shut down Nico with that sewer control. They need to make sure that he doesn't get that part of the map, because that's where FaZe can do their fakes. That's where they can set up, and that is kind of a key factor for them.
So big question. We saw, when you mentioned that, I mean, that 7-1 deficit that they underwent on Overpass last time they played it, it was because of Fur's aggression. His CT-sided aggression that really got under the NiP skin. What I'm asking now is, when you have a roster like FaZe Clan, who are no strangers to going aggressive, is that surely something that NiP are going to have to be very cautious of?
Absolutely, but it's also a good sign, right? Because it tells you that they have a way to deal with it, and they also probably learned a ton from that game versus SK. The thing is, Fur can sometimes be too individual in his aggression, and on the other side of things, FaZe, when Rain is there, is probably Guardian is somewhere close, helping him out with that AWP, and it's imperative that you deal with that aggression, because just ending the rounds with executes is going to be difficult enough as it is with the stars that you have holding each bomb site.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting as well when you start to explore this is FaZe chose to take it to Overpass. Do you consider it as good of a map as FaZe consider it for themselves?
Oh, definitely so. It's probably their best map at the moment, right? Especially with that defense that they have, and how important that swing role is from a sport player like Carrigan, as the in-game leader, right? They always love to play that position because they don't have to communicate what's going on to their teammates. Yeah. They're just the one making those decisions. They don't have to tell anyone else what to do. They're doing that kind of grunt work. For me, you know, I think it's going to be on Rez and Draken towards that A bomb site. Their defense can't falter, right? We saw really good things out of Draken against Astralis. The first game of the whole tournament. You know, he had some really impactful rounds on that CT side, and they're going to need that again if they want to take this map and take the title.
Neither team has lost Overpass so far at this tournament. They've played it on the stage as well. One of them is going to have that record broken. And talking of records, interestingly enough, NiP have doubled their head-to-head score versus FaZe in this grand final alone. They've got themselves 2 wins. That's all they had when they started this. It was 2-9. Since they had these rosters, 2-9, and now they've doubled it.
2-9, and they were getting bullied in some of those maps. They played a ton in the Epicenter qualifier, and some online games they couldn't even get double-digit rounds. So FaZe must have been feeling very comfortable coming into this one. But I think, you know, they've said it time and time again, the preparation from NiP, you know, you hear it in interviews. Players always say, yeah, we're ready for the tournament, but they've been really emphasizing it, which really gives you the feel of, you know, they have tried really hard and put some extra effort into preparing for this specific tournament. So I think it's obvious that it's paying back significantly.
Yeah, it looks like NiP actually were so excited that they couldn't quite find their mouths with their bottle of water. It's all over the desk, so a round of applause for NiP.
That explains it.
Good job.
I saw them all out of the chairs. I thought, what's going on here? Bit of an impromptu team huddle.
You know, talking about delays and FaZe versus NiP, in that one of those qualifier games for Epicenter, I think it was, so they didn't have a break between the best of threes.
Yeah.
So Forrest had to go and walk his dog. Like, he literally, like, he had to do it. There was no way around it. So he goes, they have to start without him, otherwise they're going to get penalized with, like, rounds or something. So he misses the knife round. He isn't there for the start of the pistol round. They're playing cash. And he comes up like mid-round, gets a 4K on the CT pistol, and wins the round. And I was talking I was talking to the FaZe guys, and they were just like, yep, that's Forrest for you. You know, it's like, what can you do?
What can you do? I mean, Forrest is such an interesting discussion in itself. I mean, a player that has always had kind of in-game swagger. Is that a right way to talk about it? He's always had.
Yeah.
He has the Forrest effect.
Okay, so if you want to roll back the years back to 1.6. It was Neo and Forrest, arguably the two best players in the world. Now, it depends on where you're from and who you think had more impact, but it's those two guys, right? The best two players in 1.6 history. Now, they've both come across to CSGO. Forrest in the beginning, you know, he was a star. Neo, not so much. He took that supportive role. But Forrest, he was never this personable as we get to see him in CSGO, doing the eyebrows, doing all that kind of stuff. He never did interviews in 1.6. You know, he didn't really have an image in the same way he does now.
I think something that, you know, at least it's my opinion, with Forest and CSGO, right? Because he's such an experienced player. He's won everything that you can win in CS, both in individual accolades and also team accolades. When I see him play, he plays to have fun, right? He goes for those, calm like taps, or he never loses his nerve,
Cool,
right?
yeah.
Even in his play, what's he doing right now on some of the maps, like lurking? That's like fun, You're by yourself, you get to play around with your opponent, try to find a gap, try to have like some impact, and I think that's really important to him, and that's where you really see him thrive. When he can have a little bit of fun, that's when he is at his most dangerous.
No, absolutely. And I mean, when you continue to talk about Forest and when you explore that, it's the transfer, I think. You talked about his legendary status in previous iterations of Counter-Strike, but the fact that he transferred, Chad, not many of the legends of the previous games have managed to stick it out in the same way Forest and Neo have. I mean, there is a lot of names that have fallen from grace somewhat in that transition, and so there's credit to be given there.
100%. The fact that you can transition to a new game, it's still Counter-Strike.
It is.
But still have the impact, be part of the NiP roster that went 87-0, have that crazy legacy build, and then now, years later, still be having impact on a grand final stage here in Oakland. It's just nuts.
He's leading the team in the whole series, right? And
65.
it's not just the fact, the amount of kills, it's also the impact facts, right? Going back to Cobblestone, in that second half he had a lot of impact. Train, Chad already mentioned it in those opening rounds, opening entries, so that's super important for NiP here.
We've touched on this a few times as the mental coach with NiP, right? And they say in that interview they did with HTV.org that they prepare for all scenarios. I don't know if they've mentally prepared for this one. This could be a tilt-worthy.
What, spilling water?
Yeah, but I'm looking at the stage. It looks like the water's gone over mouse pads and stuff, right? And I've spilled orange juice on my mouse pad at home before, and it's not a fun experience. It's probably just water. They're probably just dealing with that. But the fact of the matter is, they might have to change pads. This is, ruining any momentum they just built up from train. So all that kind of stuff is really now discombobulating them.
No, I mean, this is a genuine, valid discussion to have. I mean, we talk about momentum. We talk about having that mindset, the mindset of, you're in a grand final, you go outside, everyone has their own routines, their own warm-up. There's no one's warm-up involves looking for a mouse pad that has a similar texture to your own.
Let's be serious about this right now. There are players, I remember playing like with Azza, and the mouse pad had to be worn down a certain amount for him to feel comfortable. Every time he started with a fresh pad, he had to change his sensitivity. So there's little things like that could be playing into this.
Well, we had Jordan at this tournament. I think he changed the mouse pad for every tournament. I think he played on a hard pad for a while, so
that's
he just got a new one for each tournament.
Yeah, I mean, everyone you're making a valid point though. Everyone has their setup, the way they play, their feet in a certain way, their mouse pad in a certain angle. I mean, it's all.
Listen, you're on championship point. You definitely don't want to make a compromise on what type of equipment you use. So it's a very awkward situation to be in.
And surely
you bring spares. Come on.
Yeah, but maybe we'll get a hairdryer down there on the mouse pads or something like that.
Or just blow really hard altogether. That's like teamwork makes the dream work.
Dude, yeah. If I was in their situation right now, I'd be a very salty sailor for sure. Just trying to get everything back. You feel that deceleration, and you realize you are one map away. Let that sink in as well.
Yeah, that's crazy.
One map away.
The fact of the matter is, though, this is going to be it's going to be mentally taxing on FaZe as well. They just want to get started. They want to get back in this, right? This is their map pick. They know how strong they are in it, and they just want to get things going. That's one of the IEM Oakland pads that has right there.
And then hilariously,
and I don't want it.
Hilariously enough, Nico is on it.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine that. You cop the one dig and you look at it and you,
what an absolute
that's
nightmare.
the guy.
But yeah, they're going to be trying to make themselves comfortable.
This is fair enough right now. For people at home going, hey, let's get this game started, you want these guys playing at their absolute best. You need them to feel comfortable. So I don't want them to take as long as they can, but until they feel ready. Until they feel ready.
If you want a mouse pad like Get Right's that he used for about 3 seconds, you have to be a Global Elite member, I believe. What's it called? Global Lounge. So there you go. If you're a Global Lounge
maybe
member,
you can just go to shop.tslgaming.com, Alex, and you can find it there.
I don't know. Can you?
Nice.
We'll find out. Maybe you can tell us.
I wanted those FaZe jerseys or hoodies or whatever it is, and Nico told me there's no way. We only got 1 pair each, so they're not available yet or something. But
you get 1 pair each. They're going to be stinking if there was a lot of 7 days.
Well, they're doing laundry every day.
Didn't really think about that.
Didn't think about that.
I got an SK hoodie.
Oh man, we know where your allegiances lie.
He's been talking to Jason how to get the freebies, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's try and steer this back on topic, because I do have a feeling that we're going to be seeing the Ninjas set up and ready to go relatively soon.
And an interesting fact is that NiP decided to start on the T side here, right? It was FaZe's pick, NiP picks the side. They picked to start on the T side, and after this like break, you know, even though you are the ones who get to dictate the pace and all of that, it's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out. You know, 3 maps have already been played. You're a bit jaded, and I'm sure they prefer it still because all the preparation, the game plan that they had. They certainly have, you know, the plan ironed out for the first couple of gun rounds. If we win pistol, if we lose pistol, if we need to force buy, we're going to do this. Keep an eye out for Rain. He has these tendencies, right? And so forth. And that's all fun and great. But if FaZe step up individually, that's not really going to matter all too much.
And that's where I really would like to take this, actually. I think both of you will be able to provide great insight on something that we don't have an opportunity to talk about too much, is when we use the word preparation. What is it that's being prepared? I know SK often would prepare situations as in, okay, if 2 of us get into drop, we do X. And if
that's the theory side, right?
Right. So is that what we're talking about? It's not just researching how people set up on their CTC.
No, we're talking about map specifics now when you're going head-to-head in these scenarios, right? It's like, what does Nico like to do? Or where does this guy like to play? Where does he fall back to if we throw this Molotov? Small details like that. Now, the issue is, especially with young players on your team, you don't want to overload them with that kind of information. There's a couple of ways you can deal with it. You can give everybody the lay of the land. You can go, hey, this is how these players react, and hope that they can process the information.
But you can overthink.
And that changes their game. You know, that's an issue there. Or you can just give the information to the in-game leader and maybe the second general in the server, and they can call strats knowing how people are going to react.
Also, you need to be careful how far in depth you go. You know, if you do something like, when we go for the B execute, watch out, Nico can be either in barrels or around the pillar or close monster. Well, you just said 3 positions. You know, it's like 3 out of the 4 where he can be. You didn't really research all that much. That just means, you know, he'll be in one of the spots, and that's it. And that way you're just feeding information that's not really crucial. But if you know one specific tendency that happens all the time, for example, when they're 5v4, they're always going to group up. So if we can spot them, that's where they're going to go. Or if the nades fly over, you can over-rotate. You don't have to be worried about it being a fake. Something like that is, you know, super good to know, and that can actually go a long way.
So understanding how the other leader reacts to situations almost. This is when you start talking about the mental chess game, right? So if you know that when Carrigan concedes an early frag, he's going to do X and Y, that's when suddenly it becomes this whole double bluff, crazy preparation.
Yeah, and it goes down as well even more detailed when you get to clutch scenarios, right? You were talking to Zipnix yourself about scenarios and how he knows how people play in 1v1 scenarios, right? I think you said the only player he couldn't read was Cold Zero, which is crazy. But I think that back and forth is something which is always going to be happening within CS. It is a mental game after all.
Yeah, I think they have the mouse pad, so now it's just like, are they actually as smooth as I like them?
I did just double check. It sounds like the players have given us the thumbs up, and so they will be jumping into this one. Let's just do a quick TLDR though. The map is Overpass, NiP 2-1. They have only 1 choices, maps they chose. This is where they now go back into FaZe's backyard, and a map that our analysts, our experts, both Yenko and Chad, has expected them to go all the way. This could be the big one, the explosive map. Wake up, Oracle Arena, we're going back in. It's time for some Counter-Strike. NiP, could they seriously defend their throne, or are FaZe going to throw a spanner in the works?
Well, water might have been spilled on the mousepad, but blood will go down on the floor of Overpass here. It's FaZe versus NiP. This could be the final map. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some noise as FaZe take on NiP. The Ninja Study on the T side. 1 smoke, a flashbang, and an HE grenade. No upgraded pistols here. And FaZe look to get towards a connector.
Very fast. Rain's already out at the top of middle. He's peeking out with a nade that goes in his face, but just in front of the bench, so it won't do massive amounts of damage. Rez this time to take over the water. We know Get Right likes that position, but the forward stance toward A, left B as a vacant possibility. And just to follow up as well, yes, back-to-back IEMs, but this would also be back-to-back Grand Slams for FaZe, meaning that with 8 further events, they would only need to win 2 to get the Intel $1 million prize in doing so. First, they've got to win Overpass just to force out Cash. Nico jumps. He's already rotated around to see if anyone walking in. Forced inside a monster. Rez to join in from Bags. And 1 smoke on top of the site should allow the plant. Rez goes forward to start things off in this map 4. Good shot from Guardian, takes back Draken. That'll allow Get Right to prepare because Guardian will walk in through Squeaky, but he's not prepared for that shot because he finds a second straight headshot to open up the position to allow rotations. Rez therefore has to continue fighting forward. As Guardian gets in behind, it's Exist to go down, brought in by Rain. Forrest forced off the angle, still has Rez behind him to hold, but they don't have control of window. Good find from Forrest. As he nearly snaps back in time. It's a 1 versus 2, and Rez does not have vision of the bomb. They're on it now. No kit, but it doesn't matter. They get the kill, and they've got time.
Very fast round coming in there from both sides. It's the B commitment from NiP that works successfully. They get the opening kills. Forrest and Rez chiming in for strong frags there, but it's Guardian coming out of the connector, hitting absolutely everything with his P2000, and will be backed up by his teammate at the same time. Rain with 2 kills, and it will be FaZe putting the first round on the board. It's the replay, Guardian. Lovely stuff with that P2000. Completely shut the round down. Forrest with some good work there, but they got the bomb down. They'll be force buying in the 3rd round once again. FaZe do prepare for that. They get 4 rifles, man. They're very aware of the situation. It's good to see. They will be able to go toe-to-toe with those AK-47s in the 3rd round. Nothing really purchased here by the NiP side. They will be able to potentially get a bomb down if they all 5 players go towards B, perhaps, but it's unlikely. For now, they'll be holding up with their 1 Desert Eagle, a P250 and a CZ, and seeing if they can find any sort of opening here.
Rez is going to wait it out in front of the bathrooms. Does have Kerrigan just around the corner. Peaceful tranquility. Rain will watch long as Guardian falling back into the site. What's up with the M4. Realizes he's backing off, is allowed Draken to get closer. He'll spot it up. Guardian takes down Exist. Straightforward, no account for the pistols. Forrest does find 1 on Guardian, but it's just 1 kill. Make it slightly more expensive, I suppose, but it's 2-0 for FaZe.
Well, it's all leading to this point, round number 3. The AKs will come through. Smokes purchased, and like we said, FaZe were preparing for this very situation. They went for a lot of firepower in round number 2. Knowing if they win that with 4 or 5 players alive, they'll have rifles across the board with the utility and the fuse kits. It's NiP that will have to fend off the aggressive play from Guardian and Rain as they go towards the connector. Get right, holds a tight angle. We'll see if he can take down the boost potentially here. I can see coming through, but they won't be committing to that. And it's a long A approach from NiP. 3 players making their way up very quickly towards the bathroom choke point.
Good shot, Rain. Getting aggressive as well, all the way up the hallway to catch off Get-Right as he dropped down late. Cop some damage for it. He'll go down to 19, but job done. They clear the position. They'll go for the safe rotation. They didn't have any information into the front of the bathroom, so they had to go back through construction and rotate around toward bank and the dumpster, respectively. That's given Exist position at long because of the absence or lack of presence toward the A site. Kerrigan is still behind the truck. Draken starts off with Rain. Again, he was low. So it's not a large loss in the fact that he already found a kill. And Olaf gets Draken back. The HP, therefore, is still sufficient. Rez, meanwhile, is not. He's down to 4. Good find from Exist. Over top of the small box. As Olaf finds Forrest once more. Rez is still low. Nico's got an Exist down. Rez now has to clutch it with 4 HP, and Olaf, equally as low, still finds the kill.
Yeah, Olaf Meister waiting for his teammate to rotate through. Nico with the backstab from Connector gets the first kill. 2 versus 1. Rez can do nothing about it, and this is the fantastic start for FaZe. The analyst did say it's very likely we go to the 5th map here, and it's looking promising at this point for FaZe at least. 3-0, the bomb goes down. We'll have okay money for NiP, but it's likely to take the partial buy here as we go into round number 4. Nice work from FaZe at the very start there to get towards the connector. They weren't happy with the initial intel. Rain wanted to push all the way towards T spawn. Found Get Right out of position, wins the duel, funnels them towards A, and they come out on top. Like I said, partial buy very likely here. They'll bring out the Deagles, CZs, a couple of HG grenades potentially for middle there. We'll follow Exist journey and see where he can find the nade shots. Ooh, does damage. Rain will have to go back, and he goes down to 48 HP. Not too devastating, but Rez trying to follow it up as he'll push towards middle.
Rez. Desperate to hit shots on the Deagle. Might not amounting to much as Get Right. And Ko go back onto pistols, and Guardian will back off with the AWP, staying passive inside of the site. Doesn't want to get caught too far away. Lose the weapon early. Kerrigan covers close side and can trade off of Rain, who's presumed to the open, but has the coverage accordingly. Good find from Guardian to get Rez. Still put pressure toward the A site, but with no smokes. Bomb plant not likely. They'll change their approach instead. This is going to jump over with Deagle and get closer onto Nico. Smoke deep down side of Monster. It'll dissolve. NiP will spot anyone coming back from short and erases Get Right. Just say might do some damage on the cross, but he hits it straight on. Olaf's able to spray down both Draken and Forest. Stand follow up to get Exist 4-0 for FaZe.
NiP yet to arrive, but this is the NiP we've come to know. Every single map this tournament feels like they take a huge deficit, then it's a grind to get back into it, but they do it every single time. Now they'll have the full buy here. They go to the 4th stage loss bonus and bombs going down. We'll have the AWP out for Draken. 4 AKs around him with all the utility required. And what's the stance now from FaZe? So they go for the initial pick. We know Guardian likes to do that. We'll go towards long for now. Carrigan in towards the connector position. It's Forest coming very quickly towards him now. And we'll see Guardian boosted up on the flower bed towards long. Baited in by Rain behind the rock. Nailing that first shot, no problem at all. Rain swings out from the rock, looking for the second kill. He might get it. Does damage, and he'll fall back. Damage being inflicted, and it's up to Carrigan to try and stay alive at this point.
Well, the awkward part about this too is the bomb went down behind long. The one kill they get, which you can compensate for, which you can rotate away from, pulls them back directly toward Rain, and Rain stands up to find 2. Carrigan gets 1 before Get Right pulls it back, but this round done as well. This is gonna go 5-0 FaZe. And yes, okay, they lost the first pick. It's hard to talk, you know, what ifs, but the fact that the bomb was there as well made it almost impossible.
Real clean round there from FaZe. Clinical stuff as Guardian finds the first shot, baits Rain in quite nicely. He doesn't kill them straight away, he does damage. It takes him down to about 30 HP, changes position. Like you said, that bomb going down, he knows he's got full control of the situation. Finds both the kills. Olaf Mice used that opportunity to push towards the connector from B, gets him behind them, locks them in, and it's round done. 5-0 for FaZe. NiP haven't really found any frags at all. Forest with 3s at the top of the board. And they have got their maximum loss bonus, but it's not really enough. Other bomb going down there, all hovering just under the 4K mark. They will invest into the round, of course, but it's still not looking great. I think Draken will have to just take a deagle here, and he'll try and keep his money a little bit stronger. He'll keep himself on 2K just so he can get the AWP in future rounds. 5-0 though.
Yeah, that's a great start for FaZe. Again, you mentioned it early in the series, just like yesterday, NiP. Their starts have not been their strong point, to say the least.
Yeah.
Draken limited to just the deagle as we get back underway. Guardian's the one to go aggressive, doesn't spot anything towards the fountain.
They're just going to have to go brute force it, man. You can see they got 1 smoke at the 1 minute 40 mark. That's just not enough, is it? They're going to have to stay as a 5-man unit, go for a contact play somewhere, and hope they trade out a frag, force the bomb down, and hopefully get like a 3-on-3 situation in a clutch. They just don't have enough to go for a default into an execution. It's not going to work out for them. But now they have 3 players towards a connector. We have got, of course, Get Right patrolling towards B, and this is the play. This is the contact towards mid. You can see them all grouping up towards the bathrooms, staying as a tight unit, just looking for trade potential here, sticking together and hoping to bait out a shot from someone like Guardian. Even if he hits it, that's when they'll pounce. As soon as they're detected, they'll be going all in.
Guardian has Rain with him, with backlines. That single smoke could be enough to get a bomb down as a result of that. If they get, like you say, can bait out a shot from Guardian, they've used that smoke in a very close position at bathrooms. In fact, not even near the site directly, and that's brought Rain's attention, who goes out to the flower pot to find one. Exist is going to walk their gray screen. Rez at least trades that back, and they got Guardian down, so it works in that sense, but they still have to get the bomb planted on the site. Rotations are coming in as Carrigan, Olaf, and NiP all get to the stairs, and NiP finds a peek toward Rez. But the bomb is planted, so give NiP a chance. No utility, and what a shot from NiP, as it's just to Draken, no AWP to play with, and gets on all 3. Flash as well, they're already on the bomb, it's around behind the truck. That's going to be extremely hard for Draken to even get that far. He's got to go by Olaf, and he can't do that.
Pretty much as described, the NiP with nothing to work with at all. They get towards the bathrooms, very close at the precipice of the bomb site. That's when Rain finds them, and that's their full commitment. They have no choice but to fall and go into the bomb site at that stage. You have to just go for it. And they got the 3-on-3 trade. The bomb was down. That's what they were looking for. But when Nico's rotating in with an AK-47, you're in a world of pain. And it will be 6-0 as FaZe look dominant so far on Overpass. Bomb going down, though, means we can buy again a maximum loss bonus. And the bomb going through, you get plenty of cash. And like we said, Draken kept himself about the 2K mark in the previous round, so he can bring out the AWP. They were expecting this to be a possible outcome. It's aggressive play from Rain, though, pushes towards the fountain. He'll take 1, can't find the second, but Guardian there looking for the trade. He'll fall back, he'll be happy with at least a 4-on-4 to go back to watching the long position.
Clears toward, exactly as you say, the long position, but it's still inside of the bathroom connector. They have to worry about Guardian. Goes aggressive with the AWP at that exact angle to take down Exist, and they have yet to get control of long. This has been a battering so far. It's not even like NiP have been inching into this game slowly, as we often see when they go down in these deficits. It's just been dominant. Guardian shows it again as GetRight tries to sneak in behind him, and he was even aware of that.
Another 4-on-2 situation. Draken and Forest trying to do what they can. Against SK, it took Exist to win a 2-on-1 clutch, a spectacular clutch, but I don't think any magic will be coming into this round just yet. It's going to be Karrigan. Dispatching of Draken. Forest now in a possible situation, and surely he can't get much done here at all. Karrigan starting to look much better here, hitting all the shots with the M4A4, and NiP gone very quiet indeed. No frags seem to be going in their favor. A change of pace from FaZe in that round. Rain just completely bulldozes his way in towards the top of middle, through the smoke, finds the 1 kill. Sure, he only gets 1, but then Guardian, he knocks him out the park. 2 kills with the AWP, holds him at bay, and Karrigan to finish off the job. NiP just can't get going here. The defaults, they're not finding any sort of map control. When they do get a chance to execute, they've got no money to actually drop all the smokes and the Molotovs there. Maybe at this point, it'll be a partial buy coming through. Sure, they've got that maximum loss bonus, but the bomb didn't go down there. So that means $3,400 per player for Rana Beret here. This will just be Deagles and armor. Maybe a few smokes, and we'll see if they can make anything of it.
Back underway, and it's desperate times for NiP. Deagles need to be as good as FaZe's Deagles have been throughout this series. Still 2-1, obviously, overall. With 4 Deagles and 1 CZ, they'll try and take the underpass. Not even going near long. I take that back. Rez crossing over gets caught, so they won't go any further than that. And on top of the kill from Guardian, they put Rain directly inside of the corner, so it does mean that they've got pretty much control of anyone heading around the front side of the bathrooms, unless they come up through the connector, which they want to clear, but they aren't ready for Rain. Rain, making it somewhat interesting. That makes up for it. Didn't quite find Forrest convincingly, but he certainly got GetRight with a clean shot. Draken pushes out desperately. I think this one done as well, and the money is just massive for FaZe. It's going to take pretty much 5 rounds to break them down at this point.
Yeah, they've got 5 digits on 4 different players. Just know Nico homing in on $16,000, so they're pretty much set for the half now as they find 8-0. And NiP with another full buy. That was an eco in the previous. They need to start waking up now. Maybe a set piece off the bat. Let's get towards B. Let's get those smokes down. Let's force out a clutch situation. Draken with the AWP. Have a look at the scoreboard. GetRight 1 for 8. Draken 2 for 8. No one's really fragging as of yet. 4 kills, top of the scoreboard. It shows us an abysmal team effort. We will go towards B. This looks like the set piece. I wanted to see smokes all over that side. Molotov with the barrel flashes over. Let's try and get that bomb down. To GetRight, holds towards short, stopping them pushing. That's actually a defensive move on the T side.
Yeah, that's, I think, kind of shows you the mentality of NiP right now, and the fact that they are not confident in any facet or approach. They're going to go boosting as well. GetRight finds it, good timing, a bit of luck, because they were trying to take back the position, and GetRight typically plays passive inside of construction. He decides to get assertive. That's going to open things up, a bit of chaos, as Olaf nearly turns it back to find Forrest as well. He got GetRight. Only 1 and not 2. It's NiP to finally get a bomb down with an advantage. 2-1 at 4-2. Doubling up on that which FaZe has.
We've got so much money available for FaZe, though. They might as well go for it, even if it's a guaranteed loss, to try and find some frags. The wallback comes in. It's Rain to take down Exist. That was the opening, but unfortunately it's Draken, and will strike back at the very same time. Like I said, Rain might as well try and find some kills here. Draken finally starting to hit some shots at this point. It's the first round on the board for NiP as they start their campaign now on Overpass. They managed to keep decent numbers alive there, but of course, FaZe have money for days. And I like that from NiP. The defaults aren't working out for them. Let's get an objective from the very get-go of round number 9 there. It works out for them. GetRight finds them boosting towards short, opens things up. That's their opportunity to pounce, drop the smokes, the flashbangs go in, and they manage to win out the round and hold off the ensuing counter-terrorists. Double orb set up now, just turn over from FaZe, changing things up slightly. Draken waiting for it, spots 1. Can't hit the shot, and it's Rain. He's playing like an absolute beast so far. While we hold in the connector. Holds them off with the incendiary, and this is more of a default round once again from NiP. Let's see if Rain can make anything of it. It's the first shot, but he's low.
He's very low. Forrest should easily pull it back. He manages to do so, but still got tagged down to 56. Good body shot from the M4 as Guardian decides maybe not to be so aggressive on the angle as a result of losing his teammate inside a connector. Clear bathrooms. I have not seen NiP in this angle. It's been a while since they've had long control, to be completely honest.
Well, you're absolutely right there. It's Exist who's leading the charge He hasn't got the smoke to work with, but he has got speed. He's made his way up very quickly towards the end of Long A. Guardian misses a shot. He knows that no one's looking towards Long A. With that little bit of information, he's down to exist to open things up here. And it's not going to be Carrigan to take him down. He's not looking. They had no idea Long was under such control, but Guardian trying to respond. He'll find the first frag, but the NiP side will fall back, but not for long. Guardian hitting absolutely everything right now. It's a 2-on-2 situation.
Good find from GetRight, and Forrest has the position. In fact, GetRight got the kill instead with Forrest's help. They don't know where to plant because they aren't sure what's safe. And Olaf will walk out. AWP, but goes to the P250. Imagine he'll try and get rid of that. No, he won't, because it's an easy shot to GetRight. He knows where the second player is. 7 HP, but Forrest pursues. And Forrest gets a payday. As they found 2 in a row, they'll avoid the reset. That could have been catastrophic in the middle of the half.
Oh, absolutely. That was a must-win round for the NiP side. FaZe now at least starting to be whittled down in terms of their financial situation. They won't be fully broken just yet, but they're certainly getting there. 2 rounds in a row for NiP, and it's Exist with the assertive play towards Long. Makes his way up there. Guardian did everything he could to try and deny the possibility of them getting towards the A side, but it wasn't enough. They'll come out on top. Forrest to get the final frag, and the double AWP setup won't be coming out again for the FaZe side this time, but Guardian towards top and middle once again. It seems like Long is where NiP are finding most of their success. Sending 3 players there time and time again. A potential weakness for the FaZe side as Rez will go towards the bathrooms first. Flashbang in. There is a player on the other side. It's Guardian, and he'll take you down every single time. 5-on-4 just like that.
Good find from Rain, however, as he retakes and reclaims that nade should be huge. Goes a little far. No, it didn't. It actually did hit Draken. I thought it looked like it went deep, but GetRight pulls it back. It's a little late. As it's 4 versus 2 still for FaZe. It's Guardian, oh my god! Gets found by Forrest, jumping in behind the APC. And they'll back off, but look at Olaf's position. He's ready for this. He stayed silent, and they're making noise. Immediately, Forrest goes down. Knife drawn even. They don't even know they're there. Both of them with their knives out. And Olaf steals back around for FaZe.
An absolute masterclass there from Olaf Meister. And positional control and flanking, manages to get towards the playground. His teammates funnel them back towards Long A. And at the top and middle, he's just waiting the playground. And it's Rain that kicked off the round in really impressive style there. The first M4 kill came in. And using the grenade to finish off Draken. It's NiP now, down in the doldrums of the economic system. 2 CZs, couple of AKs, and the AWP. It's towards B they go once again. One single round towards this bomb site so far. It's GetRight the challenge short once again, but it's Olaf Meister looking to find him. He doesn't seem to know that GetRight's crossed over. He should be taken down here. GetRight only with the CZ, but at this sort of range, it can do massive damage.
Ready forward on the CZ. You're right, this sort of range, massive damage, but not a kill. A kill would have been more desirable because Olaf can still back off and play angles. Nico's tagged considerably. That allows Forrest in on his AK. Now they can start to swarm onto the site. As Olaf does get right back, though, and again, wasn't a kill. He could have had him down so soon in the round. Him staying alive has opened up space for Carrigan, and it's Exist in a 1 versus 4, and he's just got the CZ.
Yeah, I think this is the round done, and potentially the half completely ruined for NiP. This is going to be money down to 0 again. 4 players surviving for FaZe. Exist will find an AK-47, but it's just going to be a consolation frag, if anything. Yeah, double digits coming in. After winning those 2 rounds there, down to a full eco once again. 10-2 as we enter round number 13. FaZe gunning for that 5th and final map here. And that's where things normally get very exciting. Fatigue starts to set in. Mistakes made, huge individual moments. And for now, we'll have a tactical pause from NiP. They have 1 more remaining. Nothing really going in their favor here in the second, or the first half here of the 4th map.
Yeah, goes to show you how many timeouts they've used already, considering we're still in the first half. Only round 13, and what a dominant performance. And interesting, like Alex said on the desk, they've only won their map choices. This is obviously FaZe's map choice, but they're getting blown out on it, and that doesn't bode well if that storyline stays true, because Cash isn't their map choice, it's just what's left over. Fortunately, it is a map that NiP typically enjoy, but that said, they also lost to SK on it yesterday, and again, I bring up history. Flip side and Vega. Nade goes through, covers off Guardian at the bench. He'll throw 1 back, just a little bit of damage, or a lot, because they don't have armor. It lands on top of Draken, Rez, and GetRight, and all of those players continue forward and go down to Rain. Finally, Guardian gets found, but Rain sneaks in behind, and the bomb drops at the top of the stairwell.
Yeah, well, they've got an AWP, but it's in the hands of Exist. I don't see him finding much more than maybe one kill with this weapon. We'll see what he can do here. Unarmored. It's Get Right trying to upgrade to anything but a Glock here. That would be ideal. It's up to Exist to try and open things up. He'll make his way towards the A side. Remember, the bomb is down towards Connector, so he's just trying to find a distraction, perhaps. Force a rotation to Get Right and tuck himself in the corner. There's a chance, and he'll hit it. No scope, apparently. Okay. It's enough to find a couple of kills, but not much more.
Well, it's 11-2. Camaraderie in the crowd, why not? Looking back, go to the AKs this time. Exist. He does buy one as well. Just wanted to see what his decision would be. They do have at least some smokes to work with. 4, to be exact, Get Right the one without. And very aggressive this time as Kerrigan will cut to his left at the top of middle, head down toward the stairs. But look at Rain, he's already passed the fountain. Guardian backs him up by watching over toward the party. Rez gets the shot back, but Guardian can't get the angle. He's dropped off it and the smoke was down. So no further shots exchanged, and the trades goes favorable for Exist as he finds Kerrigan running back up the stairwell by which he occupied early. They've walked by Guardian, no one to clear long. And they've got to be very cautious about how they retake bathrooms.
Yeah, Guardian's been in a nemesis in this particular position. This time he'll fall back though. An advantage just about for NiP. You can see Rez just on 4 points of health. 11-2. They need these last 2 rounds. It hasn't been good enough so far. This round looks promising as this collects the bomb. Throws it over to Get Right. Guardian still alive is always going to be a problem as he watches towards middle.
Watch back down toward long as well. He's tasked with quite a few areas on the map. As he goes out, he realizes they are getting closer. It's Existing. Rez! Low HP. Both vulnerable and susceptible of going down to Guardian as they'll try and get closer with Rez. He's got to be very careful. It is the AWP. A missed shot would allow them to get the kill, but it's Forrest instead that actually finds it. Nico with spray. Able to get from behind the truck to find Get Right. He's looking for a headshot to Forrest. That goes the other direction, but again a flank from Olaf.
He gets it. The timing once again. Olaf Meister is such a thorn in their side. Holding the flank, stopping the rotation, this time sabotaging the round. As he comes in from middle, they line up for him, low HP. And the double spray down goes in favor of Olaf Meister. A big advantage thrown away once again, and the scoreline lies at 12-2. Here it comes on your screen. Olaf Meister, nice spray control to finish it off. And NiP having a real tough time containing him here. This is looking very likely to be going to a 5th map, the final round. Coming into the first half, we've got UMPs, pistols, maybe 1 or 2 AKs at the very best, and tactical time at that last one match just to know it's going to be used.
Remarkable, they've used them all, and we're not even done the first half. Going into the last round of the first half, they're desperate just to get a 3rd. UMP and AK, and what a clinic from FaZe.
Absolutely. Running away with it.
Guardian, you're right, has been incredible at long. They've yet to find a dominant round in which they've gotten control by way of kills. If they play passive, yeah, okay, fine, they get long, but every time they've had to either trade back someone at bathrooms, you go back to first gun round when they lost the bomb there, whether they get to bathrooms, Guardian stays aggressive. It's been absolutely impossible for them to win that duel. Guardian this time, though, going into the lower connector, gets taken down by Rez after missing a shot. That's something to work with.
Oh, absolutely. It's Guardian changing things up. We haven't really seen him towards the connector so far, and Get Right once more, being a little bit sneaky towards short, looking for that boost once again. He's only got the UMP. So they did take down the AWP of Guardian towards the bathrooms. That will be trying to recover that at some point, but they have to make their way in there. And there's Nico, boosted up from the B side. We've seen him do some tremendous things from this position. He obviously can flick towards the squeaky door if required, but for now, looking for any players coming out of the short pipe. The door is open. Easy kill for Nico. He does take some damage, looking for a wallbang potential here. We'll see if it works out for him. You're going to pay the price. Nico gets wallbanged by Forrest. Gives up his position. He was low HP as well. That's a misplay from Nico.
Fantastic read by Forrest. Get Right wants in from Monster, and Olaf's busy trying to fight off towards short. He gets away with it. As he's flashed off, he runs down catwalk. It brings Exist in toward Rain. And if they had found Olaf faster, they might have had a better chance because he's gone back out to get Right. And suddenly the tides have turned. And Forrest, still outside of the site, has to back around. It's Draken alone with the bomb. Forrest at this point is desperate to hold them on B and let Draken fend for himself.
Look at Rain's position. He's just got this round completely tied up. There's 25 seconds remaining, and it's going to be an easy round. 13-2. This just isn't good enough from NiP. It feels like we're going to the 5th map. Overpass has looked decent for them recently, but FaZe just completely wrecked them on the CT side. We'll take a break and see if NiP have got anything to say after we come back.
NiP have grinded out 2 maps that they selected, and FaZe have battered them on 2 of their own. A 5th map looks likely after a 13-2 scoreline in favor of FaZe on the CT side of Overpass. And if the pistol doesn't go their way, we'll be there sooner than later.
You're absolutely right, Matthew. It's looking unlikely NiP can cause a real dent here on Overpass. Just to know, the final map will be Cash. And that's where things are going to be very, very interesting. At one point, NiP's absolute best map. It's a high fragging environment, the closest thing we have to Dust 2 these days. I think that's going to be a spectacular way to kick things off, or finish things off, I should say, as we get into the pistol round here. And what could be the end of NiP in terms of their standing on this particular map. Is going to be 4 sets of armor for them. Get right of the kid and smoke as he usually purchases. 2 smokes for FaZe to work with here. And they've got control of the bathrooms already. CTs have a very defensive setup right now.
Guardian sets to throw the smoke inside of the site as Draken looks out at long. He's distracted with Kerrigan. He has to play a safe side on entrance as Rain batters Forest. He follows Get Right as well. Both of them gone down. It's Draken that has to fight forward at long just to get control, to hold off. And unfortunately, he runs out of ammo. He doesn't run any further, and Olaf's gotten in behind him.
Kerrigan was a bit of a spot above there, but it's going to be a 5-on-2 situation. Exists. We'll get this goal almost certainly. It's the in-game leaders battling it out in the bathrooms right now. Kerrigan just wants to stay alive here. Low HP, doesn't have to find that goal. The round's already guaranteed and doesn't want to give Exist anything to work with it. This is just a matter of pride at this point, and Exist will go down. Round number 14 goes on the board for the FaZe side. NiP have to force by here. No choice. Everyone all in with the CZs and armor. I think they know this one's over. We'll have to look towards Cash to close it out. All 5 maps almost guaranteed now.
Cash yesterday, NiP actually fell shy to SK by a decent margin as well. I think it was 16-8 in the end.
Yeah, a map SK didn't really play that much.
Keep in mind as well, it was 8-7 at half, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
NiP won pistol and then just got battered.
Yeah, that's right.
I have to look back at the exact details of it, but it didn't exactly go their way as you'd expect. Rain toward long, flashed over with Rez, getting aggressive, does find Kerrigan up close. The fountain position, but it's Olaf that immediately turns around naturally, as you'd expect him to do so. And find the kill in return, and does so without even getting tagged. As Nico gets over toward B, outside of Monster. He'll hold for now. Bomb heads back slowly in that direction. Got to consider the underpass. They haven't cleared that out, so they're going slowly, expecting that on, or rather with pistols, NiP might try and walk up and catch them off.
Let's note the firepower FaZe have got in this round. They want to close this out right now. They're not messing around any MAC-10s, any UMPs. Rifles across the board. Get Right. One of the key players in this particular round. They're heading towards B. He's pushed off short. 45 seconds remaining. We could just do a contact play through Monster. They know they've got the range advantage here. Flashbang to set up Nico. What a player to lead the charge. They make their way towards the site. It's not enough. He'll get one, but Forest takes him back. Still an equal situation. Forest once again with that Desert Eagle, causing absolute mayhem. It's a 2-on-2 as Rain almost guarantees it now. It's going to be Draken with no defuse kit, no nades. Just the Desert Eagle to keep NiP's hope alive there.
Olaf checks it, but he's low on HP. Draken's so close, and Olaf was not ready. He wants the AK. He's actually got it from that range. I'm surprised. I didn't think he was close enough at all, but picks it up, gives him a chance. Rain has the ball. It's not yet planted. He'll peek back out. Draken's got it. All it really does is prolong the inevitable, I think, at this point.
At this stage, yes.
Limit them onto the 14th round to get a third to NiP.
Well, Draken has done it. He's avoided map points at least, so that's still a chance here for the Ninjas. I doubt FaZe will force into it. There's no real reason to. And there's Forrest once again. That iconic red eagle of his just seems to find headshots every single time. Draken to finish things off with a difficult 1v1 against Rain. One of the masters of CS. Let's see Forrest pushing off towards Joy. He's not messing around. He'll take a lot of damage, but he'll fall back after he picks up the first kill.
Front side of the battle. The AK does pop out to find Guardian, realizes there's a bunch in front of him. And he'll spray them all down. It's just Nico left in a 1 versus 5. The Eagle shots to try and find inside of the bathrooms. Don't think there's really going to be much from that. But remarkable indeed on that Eagle throughout, but this time silenced. Another round to NiP, a 4th. No mistakes, they have to be perfect. This might be the greatest trick a magician could pull off.
Like that. I think once again it's FaZe with just another full eco. Wait till things are completely stabilized. Don't put yourself in a position where finances are low. Let's close this out properly. It was Draken that saved NiP and gave them a small percentage chance of getting back into this game, but it's Rain with the first Eagle shot for us to recover. But things starting to fall apart now. 4-on-3 situation exists only with the UMP map inside the B bomb site. He's alone for now. We have got rotations from Draken. He's towards the connector. Does damage. He has to do what he can to hold them off. He'll smoke towards the connector and funnel them back towards the A side, it seems. They'll stick together. They've recovered 2 rifles. This is still very likely for the FaZe side. Rez defending towards middle. What a player he's been in this tournament. Can he do it once again?
They're saying that had to be perfect. We'll see if he can. As he goes back toward the side, his attention turned toward long. They're going to wrap around toward him. He's got to get rotations in early because he's alone. And if he gets caught in transition based on timing, this could be a huge problem. Flash will slow them down. He's going to peek on it. They're low enough on HP, but he can't get a single kill. It's Kerrigan that takes the duel with the M4 at range with 100 HP when it started. When it transpired, is tracking in behind the truck. Finds one, follows it up. A chance to go for Nico, but a Deagle shot that lands instead. And even though the AK tried to get the spray down, it suddenly falls to just exist.
He's got nothing really to work with here, but the good news is they are both low HP. He just doesn't know where they are right now. Has to get close to that bomb. Will they let him do it? It looks unlikely. He just will have to check long. That's what Kerrigan's waiting, looking for the execution. Not going to happen. Exist now makes this very possible. Smoking the bomb as Nico and CT spawn, but Exist seems to know, but the timing. You're absolutely right. Nothing Exist could do that. It didn't have the information as to where Nico was. Plays it to perfection, and Nico will find map points for FaZe. That was an eco round. Nothing really purchased there at all, apart from a few Deagles. Aggressive play from NiP means they'll get shut down in the early stages of that round. And surely that's it now. We've got 1 FAMAS, a CZ, and 3 rifles to work with here.
Map point achieved for FaZe to tie things back up on 2 as they continue to trade maps seemingly. We did say it's either 3 maps quickly or 5 maps in a brawl. This one's been a brawl. So this particular instance, as Olaf goes down early, though, it is Get Right to find the early pick. Kerrigan pulls it back, but Nico swinging around will take the advantage firmly in the favor of FaZe. Now follow that up with Rez, Exist, and Get Right, the last 2 alive. Both do have M4s, but what chance beyond? Hard to say. Good find from Exist, at least controls Nico, but bomb sitting over toward A, and Get Right realizing it late has to go back around. And Guardian in the open does still have an AWP that, although he's planting the bomb momentarily, can easily get posted toward the bank stairwell. And with the smoke down, small gap, Get Right will not have a clean entrance, although Guardian doesn't want to stay in this position. Maybe didn't realize the gap was as big as he thought. So he catches him running back. It's Get Right that therefore can go aggressive. No kits on either player. They've got to be swift. Exist will follow it up. If he can hold the defuse, and now knowing that Rain's inside of the bathrooms, they can control this. He'll flash back in. Get Right the one to take the duel as Exist tries to hold it down. He's on the defuse now, but Get Right's gone behind the truck. He still has the angle, and he'll find it.
They hold on again, NiP, in another clutch situation. No kits available there. Had to just trust that Exist could hit the shot with the AK. He certainly delivered. And there will be 1 more on the board for NiP. 15-5, 10 map points, I should say, for FaZe. From what I can see, we will be buying into this round, knowing that it was very expensive. They're not going to fully commit to one of those tactical purchases we discussed earlier in the tournament. Nico with 1 AK-47, definitely a player capable of opening things up for those pistols. All he needs is 1 kill, and they can have a snowball effect for these pistols to make their way towards a bomb site. We'll have a look for any aggression in the initial stages of the round. Get Right is in towards the connector. Nothing to be found just yet. They want to see if Nico can get anything done here, so they just want to wait for the initial aggression, then go as a unit.
Fall off of it, Get Right. As he falls back, spots Rain, that gives Rez the confidence to take the peek, knowing that he was going to be in the open to him. Guardian wants to run back over in the same angle and see what's still available to him. Deagle is. Call that an upgrade from a CZ75, would you?
Yeah.
The way this series has gone, the way the Deagles have been in the hands of FaZe, I would say yes in most situations. CZ is still very applicable. AK-47 this time for Nico.
He wants to give that to Olaf now. Absolutely. He's gone down low HP. Olaf has armor to work with as well, so that would be the logical play, at least in my book.
And that would also give a Deagle back to Nico, which hasn't exactly been a bad thing.
Yeah, Olaf's going towards Nico. There's the swap.
Olaf immediately, as soon as he got that AK, made no mistake with it, but Get Right shuts them down. Nico behind the bags. He'll go down as well. Get Right. 3 kills. behind the barrels. Guardian knows that he's there. He may fall at this point in time, given the angle from Guardian. He's got it into a 1-on-2. Has the bomb as well, but Draken has the angle from the window, and we continue on for at least a little while. We'll see what FaZe can come up with as they get back into guns.
It's going to take such a magnificent team effort here for NiP to even think about getting to overtime. Still 9 rounds required, and that was technically an eco there for FaZe. This 1 AK purchase comes down to a 2 versus 1. Get right to save the day on the B bomb site. No mistakes can be made at this point. We'll head towards the B site. At least for Guardian. No AWP for him. Looking to challenge towards short. Get right. Throw a nice nade in towards that area. Takes him down to 71 HP. Once again, though, it's Rez to be challenging the connector. Good incendiary. He won't commit to that. He'll just fall back, just buying some time. But he needs to be careful. Those flames could spread and take a bit of damage, but be absolutely fine.
Still waiting in the short pipe. Flashed in by Nico. Checks the jump first, as you would. Right's going to try and hold in the corner. It's Zipix in the group stages that tried this exact play to good effect.
Whoa!
Shot from Olaf. Takes down Forrest immediately.
He was jumping on the bomb site.
We didn't catch it as we swapped back over. You saw it on your perspective. That's pretty remarkable. Get Right, meanwhile, is still waiting. They're going to check it. Oh, are they? Nico shows his gun barrel, but doesn't go far enough to see him, so at least they pull the kill back. Still, though, they are a man down. Guardian's biding his time. 40 seconds, the group. Grab the bomb from back toward T-spawn and head toward the B site. There's 2 players, never mind. There's 1 player, never mind. There's no players inside of it because Guardian finds Exist and Get Right quickly. It's just Draken remaining. 1 versus 4, and Guardian with an AK.
Showing us what he can do with the rifles. He's not just a one-trick pony. Guardian to close things out. What a clinical performance that was from FaZe. We're going to cash. And that's where things really should be dramatic. Yeah, NiP didn't put much of a fight on Overpass, but at one point, Cash was their absolute best map. They've looked a little bit shaky on it recently, but I assure you that's going to be an absolute barn burner to close out its best of 5.
Well, they're not like available yet or something, but they
get 1 pair each.
The history comes full circle.